Welcome back to Gray is Gorgeous. I am glad you're on my channel today, and I'm going to today or evening, depending on what time you're viewing this, but I am so glad you're here. First thing we're going to talk about is if you feel different in the morning when you get up than when you go to bed at night, that's because you are different. Certain things in the body change as far as hormones. So you have different levels of these throughout the day, and then as evening comes, things start to fade off. So if you in the evening is not the time to make any decisions, big decisions, or take on any projects, most likely in the morning you're going to feel a lot better. In the morning you get up and your body has reset itself and you're fresher, and that would probably be the time, not maybe early in the morning, but later in the morning around 9-10 o'clock, that'd be the time to start bigger projects if you want to. Slowly come about in the morning instead of jolting yourself up and throwing yourself out of bed. And I know it becomes harder as we get older anyway, so it's just nicer to be able to just lay there for a few minutes and just take quiet time. Not time to look at your phone or your tablet, but just quiet time to just breathe and relax. And if that quiet time comes in the form of a nice hot cup of coffee or a hot cup of tea, go for it. After you've had your hot cup of coffee or your hot cup of tea, I like to sip soup broth in the morning because I don't do coffee due to the caffeine. I can have decaf, but I decided to stay away from coffee. I think for me, it creates a little bit of an acid stomach situation. So I drink hot soup in the morning, and that satisfies my need for a warm liquid, and it's very comforting. So that's what I do in the morning. And so it's a little bit different, I know, but it works for me. And then I eat the soup. I sip the broth and then I eat the soup for breakfast. So that's kind of what I eat for breakfast. I know it's bizarre, but I make spinach soup in the morning for breakfast. Spinach has a high levels of potassium, which is kind of what you need when you slept all night. Your electrolytes are kind of low. That's the salt and potassium. And at the end, when I'm done eating the soup, most of what's in the soup, then I sip the broth, and that's kind of like my coffee in the morning. I know it's weird, but it's what I do, and it's totally healthy, and it gives me good energy, and it gives my body the building blocks to then do and perform what I have to do throughout the day. So that's really super important, is to eat nutritious food in the morning and make sure you protein up. So after you have proteined up, you are ready to start your day. And if you are vegetarian and you don't eat meat, chicken, bacon, anything like that, you can always protein up with pea protein. You can buy pea protein in a powder and you can make a shake with it. Or you can just put peas in your NutriBullet or whatever you have to blend it up in, and just throw some peas in there, some spinach and a banana, and you can make a shake in the morning with just vegetables and fruits, and that will also be good. Or you could just eat peas in a bowl. They're very high in protein, and so 1 cup of peas, and you can just eat those warm, maybe with a little butter on top, and just eat a bowl of peas in the morning. So there's lots of ways you can get your protein without having to eat meat if you so choose. So, but protein is really important. Eggs are also another good protein source in the morning, but you can opt for the peas if you're allergic to eggs. So, and that will just help you get your body started. Okay, so after you have done your protein and everything, then you just want to take a minute for yourself in the morning, without distractions, without your cell phone or your tablet or your laptop, and just want to maybe sit out on your veranda, or if you have a patio, or your backyard. And I understand during certain times of year, the weather is not always going to be conducive to that. However, you can always sit in front of a window, a picture window in your house. Maybe set up a little place there that's your morning station, your wake up station, where you have a nice comfortable chair and you've got a little table there to your side. And just take in your environment. Just look around your environment. If you have a patio, or like I said, if you're in a bigger city and you don't have any backyard or patio at all, but you have a little veranda, maybe put a chair out there, kind of look out into the world a little bit, and look at the sky and the trees and smell the fresh air, and just take a minute to gather your thoughts for the morning, and just take some quiet time where you're not actually trying to figure out anything really. You're just kind of being present in the moment and enjoying your surroundings. And I find that helps a lot for 15-20 minutes. If you can take a nice walk and schedule that in, that's all the more better. And like I said, if the weather is not conducive to that, then you can just sit at a beautiful picture window and just look out of the window and just spot trees, watch people wherever you are. Just take in your environment for a minute, and don't have any connection to any electrical devices for a little while, and give yourself time to come around. And after you've done that, then you can start planning your day. And one tip I have that I'd like to share with you on planning your day in the morning is you may have a bunch of things that you need to do. So rather than having them rolling around in your head, oh, I got to do this, I got to do that, just put them down on paper. Now, if you find you have a list and it becomes really long with 20 or 30 items, and you're like, there's no way I can get this all done today, and you start to get a little bit of list anxiety from all the stuff you have to do, then what you could do is just take the top priority items off of your list. You're down to wearing your last blouse, then you must wash the laundry. Then it becomes the top priority. Or if you have checks you have to deposit at the bank, it becomes your top priority for the day. So pick the things out of the list that are the highest priority, and I would get those done first. That way, they'll get done and it won't create any further anxiety on getting them done. And B, if they're the first things that you do during the day, then they're done and they're handled. And then you can insert the other things on your list that are not top priority. And then you can feel relieved that that check that you're going to deposit at the bank will get deposited today, and you won't have to think about it anymore. Also, having the list really helps because you can schedule things like at 5 o'clock when I get home, I'm going to dump the garbage can and the recycle bin. At 3 o'clock, I have a meeting with so-and-so. At 5 o'clock, I'm going to answer my emails, and then schedule a time for that. Also, I find it's really helpful to schedule time to check your phone, so you don't just automatically, constantly. I know it's hard. It almost is, I don't want to call it an addiction, but our phones are you hear them pinging, you're getting text messages and all this stuff, and it's just almost like an automatic reaction just to reach for it, look for it, start scrolling down, and then you get distracted and you end up answering some communications, and then you end up getting distracted by some other stuff like the stupid Yahoo News or something like that. I hate how Google has done that, but I'm not going to get on a rant about that. But it's like if we don't have enough stuff to think about, they're just constantly bombarding us with stuff. It's like, I don't, when I have the Google search bar, I have that there for a reason, because it's stuff that I am interested in looking at, not stuff that CNN or or the New York Times or some other magazine or some other company is wanting me to see. My phone is for my advantage, like your phone is for your advantage, right? So that you can make calls and you can get things done and you can pass communications where you want them. It is not an outlet for other companies like CNN or the New York Times or some other magazine or group to be, you know, sharing with me information that they want me to see. Um, so anyway, but it is what it is. So I try not to do that, and I try to schedule in time to check my emails, check my phone only certain times of the day, rather than constantly picking up, looking, picking it up and looking, picking, because that's a time sucker. It's just going to suck time from my day. And if you've ever been stuck on the phone, and I know YouTube does it too, you click a video, then you're watching another video, and the next thing you know, you're sitting there and you're like, oh my gosh, like 2 hours have passed. How is that even possible? But it's interesting. And you might want to try this out. So when you're having your coffee in the morning and you're not distracted by any phones or any texts or any emails or anything like that, watch how slow the time goes. It's very interesting. You can look at the clock and you can be sitting there and hearing the birds sing and looking out the window and looking at the beautiful trees and watching the people, and and then you look down at your watch or your clock and you go, oh my gosh, it feels like it's been an hour and it's only been like 10 minutes. So that's just shows you that when you're on a device, how much time it sucks. And what are you feeding yourself with? You know what I mean? If you got the Yahoo News there and it says so and so, all of the negative bad, it's generally always bad. I hardly ever see anything positive, you know, on there. Then you're feeding yourself. You're taking a feeding of all of this negative stuff in every day, and it's not a wonder that you start your day off in a whole negative light, because you've just taken in all of this negative information and now you've kind of laid the groundwork for your entire day. So, yeah, so you might want to consider just ignoring those. They also have an option where you can push the button and you can say, I don't want to see any more. You can click the option of, I don't want to see any more from this particular news company or whatever. And I usually go through and do that on each single one. And then I get to the end of the string. There is an end, even though it keeps scrolling. And then it just stops. And then there's like no more news stories there. And I'm like, okay, good. I wish it would stay that way. But when the next time you turn on your phone, they reload it and they reboot it with more news stories. But I'm just going to keep pushing that button. Don't want to hear about that. Don't want to hear about that. Don't want to hear about that. And see if they stop putting news feeds on my. I doubt it, but I wish you had an option to have it there or not have it there. And I'm really upset that Google has done that, because it's a continual stream of media that I don't want. And it's the algorithms are designed to get you to watch certain news clips based on stuff that you've clicked on, from your YouTube and other places. So it's actually clickbait is what it is. It's bad news clickbait. So just ignore the clickbait. Don't read the Yahoo stories in the morning, and see if your day doesn't get a little brighter. After all, it is you who is creating your day, by the way. You get up and you decide what clothes you're going to wear, what breakfast you're going to eat, what coffee you're going to drink. And so why shouldn't you decide to have a good day, right? Put a smile on someone's face, or your face, or both of you, right? Start your day off on a good foot, and helps you organize a little bit how you're going to have your day, orchestrate your day. And thank you so much for watching. As always, click subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. Click like if you like the content of this video, and we will catch you next time. Stay well.